Good morning, everybody.
However, the better analogy by far is prostitution.
Am I live?
In exchange for the right to go about its business, the
Just gotta make
American
sure.
corporation
Don't
will
wanna
tell
not be
left-wing
live.
activists
Oh yeah,
that
go
it
stop.
Perfect?
sympathizes
Okay.
with their concerns and shares their
Bank
troubles.
select 8.
This
Perfect.
is, of course, merely play acting. As any John can attest, it
All right,
doesn't
so
matter what a hooker says to her customer
today
in
is,
the heat of the moment. She doesn't really like you. The
July 12th.
corporate anti-racist statements aren't
we're gonna
the
talk
cyberspace
about
they're tweeted through.
Amtrak's
The
new
authors
trains
brought
today. They have
English
some
and
new trains coming into service next year. So we're gonna talk about that. Talk about the food pantry in Middleboro. We're also going to talk about the return of the best small towns in each U.S. state that is returning. We're going to focus mostly on the Northeast today with the show, with that part of the show. And there will be some other things too. There might be a little bit of sports talk. The name change for the Washington Redskins is imminent. It's going to happen in the next 24 to 48 hours. And we'll also have today in history. Today's a big day in the history of the Rolling Stones.
Please do not hesitate to reach out to us if there's anything that you need or that we can do for you. You can email me directly at adunbar@tacnetwork.org or call 781-834-4400. Thank you, stay safe and healthy, and have a great day.
The following is a message from the Carroll Center for the Blind. The Carroll Center is actively seeking solutions to keep people of all ages and all stages of vision loss connected to critical blindness services. As people are encouraged to practice social distancing and work remotely, the Carroll Center is determined to help you stay connected. Their dedicated team continues to provide services using modified work plans that ensure the safety of their consumers and staff. While the Carroll Center is not currently providing face-to-face instruction on campus or in the community, they are continuing to provide instruction through a variety of remote methods to school-age students, adults, and seniors. Their team of vision rehabilitation professionals are remotely instructing consumers regarding travel, daily living, and the use of assisted technology. They're sharing timely resources with their clients and encouraging them to participate in distance learning instruction. And their store is continuing to process phone and web orders. For more information on any of these items, you can email the Carroll Center at info@carroll.org. That's info@carroll.org. This is
Broadcasting live from the Taunton Federal Credit Union Studios at 14 Church Green, we are AM 1530 WVBF, Middleboro, Taunton, and W259DD, Middleboro Center, 99.7 FM, Hometown Talk Radio.
So I'm going to start with the food pantry. Talk about the food pantry and then talk about a little bit about the sports. Just a little bit of sports. And then we'll go into Amtrak in the second segment, I think. When I talk to Mark today, I'll ask him about the rates too, I think. So we can go to re-up with Spark Street. I don't know if I should play them because they're up.
I think you should play him.
Okay.
Just play him.
Alright, I will.
I mean, when he pays, he's paying for July,
Yeah, okay.
August, September, right?
Yeah.
I gotta pay too. I don't know what my rates are.
Well, I'll try to find out today.
USA Radio News.
Yeah, I'm gonna call him.
Barnes. A domestic violence call in McAllen, Texas yesterday was, in fact, an ambush, which led to the deaths of 2 police officers, according to the city police chief. Victor Rodriguez says his 2 officers never saw it coming.
Our officers did not draw the weapons, did not fire, never stood a chance, never had a chance to, didn't suspect a reason to.
The chief says when additional officers showed up to the scene, the suspect shot and killed himself. President Trump says most Americans are happy about his commutation of his longtime friend Roger Stone's 40-month prison sentence, which was to start this week. Stone was convicted of lying to Congress, obstruction, and witness tampering, but the president says Stone wasn't treated fairly by the courts. Democrats and some Republicans say the president's abused his power. This is USA Radio News.
Hi, this is Wayne Allen Root for the MAGA Mall. TheMAGAMall.com. The MAGA Mall is your one-stop online shopping mall for great MAGA and Trump caps, t-shirts, flags, face masks, coins, jewelry, and other products. They even have MAGA cowboy hats. They pride themselves on offering the largest selection of the finest quality MAGA caps on the market at the most competitive prices, and your satisfaction is guaranteed. The vast majority of the MAGA caps available on the markets, they are pure junk. The MAGA Mall caps are made from premium cotton with the finest embroidery. Everything on their caps embroidered. Every star and every stripe, the presidential seal, even the president's signature. When you purchase a cap from the MAGA Mall, you can rest assured you're buying the finest MAGA cap made. They have Rolls-Royce caps at Chevrolet prices. Get 10% off your order. Use promo code WAR10. That's WAR10 at checkout for the highest quality MAGA products. Go to TheMAGAMall.com. That's the THE MAGA MAGA Mall MALL.com. TheMAGAMall.com.
Louisiana's governor requiring masks to be worn as a surge in new coronavirus cases spreads across that state. Governor John Bel Edwards saying yesterday it was clear that the state's current restrictions are not strict enough. Louisiana had more than 2,000 new cases reported on Friday and yesterday, and hospitalizations are also on the rise in that state. The Washington Redskins name change is underway. Yahoo is reporting that the NFL team is to announce its new name in the next 48 hours. Speaking on the Saturday Sports Brunch radio show, Yahoo's Charles Robinson said the NFL is telling everyone, in his words, who has Washington's nickname on its platform to start scrubbing it and start taking it off. He said he didn't know what the new nickname will be. The team has been under pressure to change the name Redskins for ages. It's considered offensive to Native Americans. And you're listening to USA Radio News.
At the American Veterinary Medical Association annual convention in Washington, D.C., I spoke with Dr. John Howe, AVMA president, about One Health.
One Health is really a collaboration between physicians and veterinarians or public health officials. For example, in Minnesota, our state public health veterinarian deals with zoonotic diseases, rabies, for example. Animals are sentinels for humans, and humans are sentinels for some infections in animals.
There's more valuable information at avma.org.
Another pro sports league that had its action interrupted by COVID-19 has now set up a playoff plan. As we hear from USA Radio's John Hunt.
Hockey became the latest sport to finalize a return during the global pandemic after NHL owners and players approved an agreement to resume the season. Games are scheduled to begin August 1st in Toronto and Edmonton, Alberta, with coronavirus cases in the United States pushing the league into Canada for the summer and the fall until the Stanley Cup is awarded in late September or early October. Training camps open across North America on Monday, which is also the deadline for players to opt out of participating with no penalty. Minnesota's Zach Parise earlier this week said he doesn't think a lot of players will choose not to play, but hours after the agreement was reached, Calgary defenseman Travis Hamonic became the first player to publicly opt out, citing family reasons. I'm John Hunt.
And 7-Eleven's most popular and often chaotic annual tradition of giving out a free Slurpee on its birthday has been canceled this year because of the pandemic. Instead, the chain is giving all of their app users a coupon for a free Slurpee that can be redeemed anytime during the month to help practice social distancing. The whole tradition started back in 2002. Additionally, 7-Eleven is celebrating its birthday this year by giving 1 million meals to Feeding America. And for USA Radio News, I'm Chris Barnes.
That's a good thing.
The opinions expressed on this program
That's a good thing.
are those of the host
Businesses
and
helping
express the views of
community.
WBF
That's
ownership
the most
or
important
Hometown
thing.
Talk Radio. Content aired on all programs are those of the host and their guests.
All right, 3-2-0 and oh wait, 2-7-0. Sorry. There we go. Perfect.
Hey, Joey, what's happening? I mean, what's happening in Middleboro and surrounding towns? It's time for the Middleboro Weekend Review with your host, Joey Driscoll. Stay tuned for news, Middleboro news, here on AM 1530 WVBF. Hey, Joey, what's happening?
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Middleboro in Review. And really, a shout out to 7-Eleven. They are going to be giving 1 million meals to Feeding America. I think that's awesome. Businesses helping communities. I think that's awesome. What are your thoughts, Don?
I think that's great. I think a lot of good companies really pitched in during this pandemic, and there's a lot of companies that people really don't know about because sometimes press doesn't talk about it. A lot of the positive stuff, I think, mainstream media doesn't really talk about. So it's good that when you hear an article like that or hear a news clip like that, it's good. It makes you feel good.
Absolutely. I think that is a really good thing. And another really good thing that it is helping the community of Middleboro is the Sacred Heart Food Pantry. And I'm going to read this article that I've been reading for the past month and a half, I believe. It's from South Coast Today. The Sacred Heart Food Pantry at 53 Oak Street in Middleboro remains open to both existing and new households in Middleboro, Lakeville, Carver, and Rochester. Families using the pantry must live in one of these 4 towns. However, income guidelines for emergency food assistance have been temporarily waived by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The pantry has more freedom to help those facing food insecurity. New households need to call 508-947-1717 and select option 2 to register before coming to the pantry in person. Anyone concerned with entering the food pantry should know that all recommendations for maintaining cleanliness and social distancing are being followed and have been reviewed with the Middleboro Health Department. No one displaying signs of sickness can enter the pantry. The pantry's personnel regularly sanitize all surfaces. They limit the number of clients in the building, requiring the wearing of masks by volunteers and clients. They also insist on disinfecting of hands and wearing of disposable gloves by all volunteers and clients. Anyone with concerns about coming to the food pantry under these conditions should contact the pantry at 508-947-1717, selecting option 1 to discuss alternatives, such as authorizing a relative or friend to pick up food. The pantry has plenty of food. The Greater Boston Food Bank is confident it can meet the pantry's needs, so it can help anyone facing food insecurity during these uncertain times. So it's really important that we keep mentioning this. It's a really good tool for the community to help the community out during this pandemic.
Yeah, like I said last week, like I said the week before that, it's good that you mentioned that. It's really good that you let the people know that it's available for them, and they have plenty of food. You say that every week, and that's good that's happening. Again, I think a lot of that food comes from donations from companies, bigger companies. I mean, I'm sure there's a list somewhere. We don't have it today, but there's a bunch of companies out there that really stepped up to the plate and you don't hear too much recognition about them unless it's a slow news day. But it's good that, once a week, you started your show talking about it. We didn't get to the weather yet.
Oh, yeah, we haven't gotten to the weather yet. We will. We'll get to it.
But that's good that it's important. It's up there in the wheelhouse for you.
Yeah.
So that's good. Anybody listening, take advantage of that if you're in need for food. Like I think you mentioned last week, they didn't mention this week, that there's no, you don't have to fill any paperwork out, right? As far as they waived the...
Yeah, it does not say that you have to fill out anything, any paperwork or anything on the article. It doesn't say.
Department of Agriculture doesn't make you...
Yeah.
Right. So, have you said that? Weeks.
I've said that for weeks, yeah.
Right, but what is it, Joe? What's the proper...
They waived...
That's important for people to know.
Yeah,
Sometimes people don't want to get caught up in paperwork and
let me get
filling out forms and all that stuff.
1 second here. Let me get that. And they waived income guidelines for emergency food assistance have been temporarily waived.
Right. That's important for a lot of people because people don't want to be dealing with paperwork.
Yes. It's very important.
I mean, I'm not sure if there is paperwork involved, but it sounds like there is. Sure, we're going to find out real soon on everything, right?
Yes.
Might have a surprise next week.
We might have a surprise next week. I'll know more midweek, and I will make an announcement when I know more. So, weather. Let's get to the weather. We didn't start with the weather,
You
but...
didn't say welcome to...
Well, I did. I did say that.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
It was it's such
I did.
different.
Yes. But let's get to the weather. 74 degrees in Middleboro, Massachusetts today. It's supposed to get up to 90. With rain for the next 2 days in the forecast. 86 and 81 on Monday and Tuesday, respectively. Taunton, 73 currently. Supposed to get up to 90. In Driscoll, Texas, 78 degrees and a high of 101 today. And in Driscoll, North Dakota, 56 degrees with a high of 86 today. So that is the weather for today. We got a few minutes before we take a break, so let's switch gears to sports. I have a few things on sports this week. So, the New England Revolution are back. They picked up a 1-0 win. So they are back. They've returned to play. They beat the Montreal Impact. So that is a good thing that they are back and that they are winning games. This is a part of the MLS's back tournament, and it will continue. I'm not sure when their next game is, but I'll try to get that before the end of the show for everyone. The next NASCAR race is coming up, the Quaker State 400, today at 2:30, and that's going to be at Kentucky Speedway. And as you also heard on USA News, you heard that a NHL will be returning August 1st in Montreal and Edmonton. So that is going to be fun to watch. I know the NBA is coming back. Not this week. I believe it's next week. I believe the 23rd, 24th is when they return. MLB also returns. They are actually in the process of returning. The Red Sox have had a inter-squad scrimmage. They posted that on their social media. 2 days ago. 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 2 da They had a 90-minute little simulated inter-squad game, and it was interesting to watch. Seeing all the players in the squad and what we might be in store for the 60-game regular season. So that was interesting to see. And also other leagues are starting to make their plans for the season, how they want to return. The NFL has cut the preseason in half. There will be 2 games during the preseason, and the regular season will start on time. As of right now, it will start this second week of September. As of right now, there's no change. The Hall of Fame game has been canceled, which means the Hall of Fame festivities have been canceled. And the 2020 class of the Hall of Fame in NFL has been moved to, I'm not sure what date. I believe it was 2021. I'm not 100% sure, but I will get that for certain. I did see 2 separate dates for 2 separate groups, so I'm not 100% sure. So we will get that information for you today as well. So we're going to take a quick break here on Middleboro in Review. You can listen to us right here on WVBF 99.7 FM, 1530 AM. We're located here at 14 Church Green in Taunton, Massachusetts, at the center of the universe.
Yes, that's very important. You need to say that. People need to know where we are.
Yep. You can also hear us on TuneIn and search up Hometown Talk Radio. You can also listen to us on Facebook with the Facebook Live, and that is Middleboro in Review on WVBF 1530 AM by Joey Driscoll. And you can also listen to us on YouTube, Middleboro in Review as well. So we're going to take a quick break, and we will return. We're going to talk a little bit about Amtrak. They're planning to roll out some new trains next year. We're going to talk a little bit about that when we return here on Middleboro in Review. So I got my sports segment out of the way.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Didn't mention anything about the Redskins.
Yeah, you know what? Just let them do it.
Yeah. I wanted to, but I felt like that was going to probably turn into like a 15-minute segment. Because I am against it. But, you know,
Hi, this is Jim Larkin.
it's going to happen.
Join me every Sunday from noon to 2 o'clock here at WVBF, the sounds of the Emerald Isle. We'll have some great Irish music, some folk,
I just signed up for a,
country, and contemporary.
I'm on
and
a
sometimes
rainbow
some live singers in
website
the
thing now.
studio. And to make you laugh, some Irish
I got all
comedy.
sorts of rainbow
That's
stuff
Sundays
now.
from
What, the
noon
band?
to 2,
Yeah.
right here at WVBF.
Cool. That's cool.
1530 Taunton, Middleboro, and on the internet at hometowntalkradio.com.
3, 2, 8, enter. Come on. Here we go. Perfect.
DK Driscoll Mobile Services is a company to call to get any cleanup you may need to do around your house done any time of the year. You can call them at 508-725-2334. They remove construction debris, metals, railroad ties, tires, appliances, paints, and much, much more, like concrete, brick, asphalt, yard removal, brush, logs, and leaves. Also basements, attics, garages, houses, and property in general. Again, the number is 508-725-2334. Call them today. You will not be disappointed in DK Driscoll Removal Services.
Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association is an association of combat veterans from all branches of the United States Armed Forces
Next.
who ride motorcycles as a hobby. Our mission is to support those
Ronnie's
who
birthday
defend our
was on
country
July
and
10th.
freedoms.
Okay, cool.
Our focus is to help veteran care facilities provide a warm meal, clothing, shelter, and guidance, or simply to say thank you and welcome home. We have members from nearly all 50 states and living abroad. Many members continue to serve in our armed forces, with several serving in combat areas now. We sponsor and or participate in many motorcycle-related charity events each year, and as a nonprofit organization, donate to various veteran care facilities and veteran charities. To learn more about the Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association and how you can join or support, please visit cvma2-2.org.
Spark Street Auto Body, located at 48 Spark Street in Brockton, Massachusetts, offers the highest quality collision repair and complete auto service for your car. They are a direct repair shop
do a
with
shout
all
out to
major
Marshall?
insurance companies.
Yes.
You should reach them at 508
During the third segment. It's about 7:40. When we come back from commercial break from that commercial break, we'll give her a shout out.
Good, just give her a shout out. Comes back,
Yeah, I'm gonna.
You got the date, September 4th?
Yeah, I'm gonna. All right, I think there's one more that I gotta do. 62. No. Which one is it?
Come on, Joey.
Okay, I'll just go back to the show. Talking Birds. I don't have the thing in front of me. That's why.
Well, Jim, you didn't do Jim either.
I did Jim. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yeah, I did Jim. And we're back here on Middleboro in Review. So I was listening to some music coming in to the station today. I was listening to some brand new Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson, he just put out his 70th album. His 70th solo album. And I think that's awesome. He's 87 years old. And he's still making amazing music. I think that's really, really cool. And other bands that are still out there. The Rolling Stones. Today, they played today in history, in 1962, they played their first concert. And they're still around. They're still making music. There's other bands who are still around making music. The Who, Deep Purple, and there's so many others that've been around since the late 60s, early 70s, who are still making music.
I think ZZ Top might still be around too. They've been around since the late 60s.
Yeah, I heard that they're still doing stuff.
Billy Gibbons is like one of the best blues guitarists out there.
Billy Gibbons is doing some solo stuff. He was doing some solo stuff a couple years ago. So I think that's just amazing to me.
I was watching reruns of the Dick Cavett show. They're all over YouTube. And he was interviewing Jimi Hendrix. And he asked Jimmy, who's your favorite guitarist? And he said, Billy Gibbons, the ZZ Top band. So that tells you a lot. That Jimi Hendrix back in, I think the interview was in 70 or 69 or whatever it was, he was looking at Billy Gibbons. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many others I can mention who are
we
still around.
We had at 7 o'clock tonight talking about music, Joey, but we don't have time, do we?
So it just is amazing how a lot of these artists from 60s, 70s are still around and still making great music.
Right. And
Willie Nelson's definitely the example. Like I said, 87 years old.
Other than Chris Christopherson, he's alive, but they did the Highwaymen back in 1987.
Yeah.
Like I said, Chris Christopherson, Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, and Johnny Cash. And that was, I think that went on for about 5 or 6 years, maybe. I'm not too sure. I'm just kind of guessing there. But that was there's a song called Highwaymen, which was pretty much the hit. But it was really good. It was a really good, that supergroup thing starting. And I think
there's been several supergroups.
Yeah, but I think
who've been
they kind
great.
of started it in a way, because I remember not seeing too much of that before that came around, and then all of a sudden you hear about supergroups coming out of the woodwork, especially in the 90s.
Yeah. All right, so we could talk about music all day, but we won't. But there's like I said, there's a lot of good things happening in music.
I was surprised when you played that this morning, and I said, "Joe, well, who's this?" I mean, sounds like Willie Nelson. He said, "Yeah, it came out a week and a half or 2 weeks ago."
Yeah, he's doing
great.
music. He's still going, which I think is great. So let's switch gears. Let's talk about Amtrak. Like I did mention, Amtrak is looking to roll out some new trains coming up in 2021. And they are testing and training for the new trains to debut. This is an article from Washington Post. I'm going to read some of it. Manufacture and testing of Amtrak's new high-speed Acela trains, expected to debut next year in the Northeast, is on track despite interruptions to production and training during the coronavirus. Testing of the first two Liberty High speed train sets from French manufacturer Alstom is underway in the Northeast Corridor and at a federal facility in Pueblo, Colorado. And Amtrak said railroad crews have started training on the new technology in anticipation of a launch next spring. The Acela prototype arrived at the Colorado Federal Railroad Administration site for 9 months of testing in February. Officials said it recently exceeded performance expectations, traveling at 165 miles per hour above the 160 limit. The trains would be allowed to travel once in service between Washington and Boston. The current Acela trains travel at 150. The $2.5 billion project, which also includes major infrastructure improvements to accommodate the new trains, is moving forward at a time when Amtrak is preparing to reduce staff by 20% and is requesting nearly $1.5 billion more in federal aid to keep afloat amid the financial hardship from the pandemic. The health crisis that shut down much of the country in March devastated the passenger railroad's ridership and revenue. So, again, this article is from the Washington Post. If you want to read the entire article, just search up Amtrak Washington Post, and I'm sure the article will pop up. So, it's interesting.
The Acela right now, say they go 150 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. There's only certain spots that are allowed to go 150 miles an hour, and that's in some sections of Massachusetts, which I think is between Sharon and Mansfield, along that line, and then in parts of most of Rhode Island once you pass Greenwich that way. They go through Kingston Station in Rhode Island 150 miles an hour. And that's it. The rest of the line, it's limited to maybe 120, 130, whatever it might be, because it's just too curvy. And the bridges are older. They're going over. The bridges are like 1910, 1920, older than that. So all the infrastructure is pretty much old, so they can't really. Those newer trains are good for 200 miles an hour if the tracks are right. If those were dedicated tracks, okay, like Europe has dedicated lines for these high-speed trains. That's why they can go, close to 200 miles an hour. Same in Japan, they're dedicated lines. But in the Northeast Corridor, we share them with freight lines and other commuter rail lines.
Yeah.
And they go through, and plus the infrastructure is old too, as far as the bridges and the viaducts and everything like that. So that's probably why we can't get up to those speeds.
So yeah, it is tougher to get up to those.
They have to have
speeds.
a dedicated line. They can't have. It's just like the red line or the subway. That's a dedicated line. No one else. There's no other trains run on that.
Yeah.
But as far as the Northeast Corridor, you got other commuter rails and freight traffic.
So it seems like the speed of these trains will be a little bit better, 160, 165.
They got to replace the trains anyway. They're old. The Excelis came into service in the year 2000.
Yeah.
So now we're talking about 21 years.
20 years, yeah.
So
So,
a high-speed
yeah.
train, they really. But I don't know because those Amtrak coaches, the regular Amtrak trains, those coaches been around forever. Those coaches, they've been around since like the mid '70s. They came out like mid '70s, yeah, mid '70s. If everyone sees a Amtrak coach, a regular Northeast Corridor coach, you know what they look like, and they really haven't changed them in years. They haven't had a coach design change in, I don't know, since mid '70s. I'm not sure if the cars I knew were older. I mean, they started that change in the '70s, and I'm sure they built them in the '80s, but they're the same style of car. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Well, if we learn any more about the new Amtrak trains, we'll definitely talk about it.
I know one thing though, because I look at videos a lot of trains. They were testing them on the Keystone Corridor, which is an electrified line that runs from the Northeast Corridor to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. That's electrified.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much electrification in the United States. They run it from Boston down to Washington.
Yeah.
And then they run some. Pennsylvania has a couple, and I know New Jersey Transit has a couple too. Some lines that electrification, but that's a main corridor. They call it the Keystone Corridor.
Yeah.
And they've been running the trains on that, not the Northeast Corridor, because it's obviously too busy.
Yeah. Okay. Switch gears to senior activities and senior graduation for Middleboro High School for 2020. The end of this month, the senior activities will start July 27th. That is still the date for the senior barbecue. July 27th, that is Monday. July 28th, Tuesday, will be senior scholarship night. The 29th, Wednesday, senior last assembly. The 30th, senior prom from Granite Links in Quincy. July 31st, which will be senior celebration, will take place on a Friday. And August 1st, Saturday, the first Saturday in August, class of 2020 graduation ceremony. I'm still not 100% sure how they will do the graduation ceremony, where it will take place, if it will take place at the gym or outside the gym. Not sure where it will take place.
I'm thinking if the weather's good, it's gonna have it outside. They'll probably set up tents.
That could be an option, yes. I just don't know.
I just can't see him dragging them in the auditorium, in the gym right
In the gym, yeah, I don't.
Just put tents up.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's probably the way to go. Even
I don't have that information, so I'm not 100% sure how they'll do it. So.
Right. Well.
And I have not heard any changes or anything to these dates. These are the dates as of now. If there are any changes in the next couple of weeks, I will pass it along to everyone else. But right now, I don't see any changes. I have not heard anything. And I'm pretty good with the social media because I follow all of their accounts. So I get a lot of the information because I follow them on Twitter, follow Facebook. So I've not heard anything about changes. So if we do hear, we will let everyone know. So we're going to take a quick break, and we will come back. We'll do our Today in History a little early, because we have quite a bit. We have quite a bit of birthdays and everything, and Today in History. We'll talk a little bit about the Today in History today. It's a very interesting Today in History. I kind of mentioned about it earlier, but we will talk about it when we return here on Middleboro in Review for the 12th of July. Again, you can hear us on TuneIn, Hometown Talk Radio. Search is what you have to search. And you can hear us on 1530 AM, 99.7 FM. You can hear us on YouTube, Middleboro in Review, and of course on Facebook, where I'm live every Sunday. On the YouTube, I usually post it about an hour after I go off the air. So expect that at about 9 o'clock this morning on the YouTube page. So let's take a break. We will be right back here on Middleboro in Review, where we'll talk a little bit about the day in history. And yeah, we'll be right back.
What did the coronavirus PSA?
Yeah. All right. But I gotta do Talking Birds here. I found where it was.
And you gotta come back in and give Martha a shout?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Ray Brown, inviting you to tune in to Talkin' Birds, a show about wild birds, birding, and conservation, right here on WVBF, broadcasting from the Taunton Federal Credit Union studios at 14 Church Green. Join us for informative interviews and fun information about birds and birding. It's Talkin' Birds, Saturday mornings at 8 and Sunday mornings at 9, here on WVBF, AM 1530 and 99.7 FM.
Hi, this is Jim Larkin. Hope you can join me every Sunday from noon to 2 o'clock here on WVBF, The Sounds of the Emerald Isle. We'll have some great Irish music, some folk, traditional, country, and contemporary, and sometimes some live singers in the studio. And to make you laugh, some Irish comedy. That's Sundays from noon to 2 right here on WVBF, 1530 Taunton, Middleboro, and on the internet at hometowntalkradio.com.
The virus that causes coronavirus disease is spreading in some of our communities. This disease, also known as COVID-19, is thought to spread mainly from person to person through respiratory droplets produced when an infected person coughs or sneezes. Take steps to lower your risk of getting sick. Here are some things you should do. Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. You can also use hand sanitizer that contains at least 60% alcohol. Take extra measures to put distance between yourself and others. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Stay home if you're sick, except to get medical care. If you have severe symptoms, please call 911. Cover coughs and sneezes with a tissue or the inside of your elbow. Clean and disinfect frequently touched surfaces. Older adults and people who have severe chronic medical conditions like heart or lung disease or diabetes are at higher risk for more serious illness from COVID-19. This group should consult with their healthcare provider about additional steps to stay protected. For more information on COVID-19, please visit cdc.gov/COVID-19.
Spark Street Auto Body, located at 48 Spark Street in Brockton, Massachusetts, offers the highest quality collision repair and complete auto service for your car. They are a direct repair shop for all major insurance companies. You should reach them at 508-583-1495. They are open Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5, and 8 to 4 on Fridays. Call them today. You will not be disappointed. 508-583-1495.
Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association is an association of combat veterans from all branches of the United States Armed Forces who ride motorcycles as a hobby. Our mission is to support those who have defended our country and freedoms. Our focus is to help veteran care facilities provide a warm meal, clothing, shelter, and guidance, or simply to say thank you and welcome home.
Yeah.
We have members from nearly all 50
I
states.
think I did it twice, actually. Oh, wait, no. I didn't do it twice. I did it once. Sorry.
With several serving in combat
Because
areas
I
now.
didn't find it the first time.
Or participate in many motorcycle-related charity events each year. And as a non-profit organization, donate to various veteran care facilities and veteran charities. To learn more about the Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association and how you can join or support, please visit cvma2-2.org.
Four, three, two, one. And we're back here on Middleboro in review for the 12th of July. I just want to mention, after this program, make sure to tune in to Bread of Life. And that will be coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. Got a good program today. And every week. It's a really great program. At 8:30.
I love listening to Reverend Ben Cross. I really do. He has so much passion. And it's always a good message. And music, too. This isn't a music station, pretty much.
Yeah.
But you get all your music on Sunday with the religious shows.
Yeah.
And plus, you got Musical Odyssey at 11, and then you got Jim's show, Sounds of the Emerald, at 12 o'clock.
Before that, we have the Rosary at 8:30. At 9 o'clock, we have Talking Birds with Ray Brown, a really informative program about birds and everything about birding. Very interesting program. I love listening to that program. 9:30, Keys of the Kingdom.
Again, a lot of music with that in those services.
Yep. 10 o'clock, First Baptist Church of Randolph.
Again, music.
With Roger Haber.
A lot of music.
Musical Odyssey at 11. Sounds of the Emerald Isle from 12 to 2. And to wrap up your Sunday, Stand Up Strong with Ed Miller and Tony Branch. So those are the programs that are coming up today for WVBF.
The busiest day.
One of the busiest days, yeah. Yes, absolutely. One of the busiest days. And of course, there's other great programming here on WVBF. Monday through Friday in the mornings, Chris Keach. And Jim DuPont at 9 to 10 every day. Except for Wednesdays. Wednesdays is Bob Folsick, 9 to 11. Bob Newhall, except for Wednesdays, 10 to 11. And other great programs as well. The Vets program, Ask Your Veterans Agent, with Michaela Brito and Will Corey. And also Jeff Santos Show, that comes on every Monday through Friday, 3 to 6. So a lot of great programming here on WVBF for everyone. So, Williams Trading Post, they have closed for the spring season, the spring season, is over. Williams Trading Post. They have closed. But they will reopen in the fall, September the 4th to October the 25th. And then again for the Christmas season, November 27th to December the 20th. So just want to give a shout out to Williams Trading Post, who's been sponsoring us since the beginning of our program back in April.
First sponsor.
Yeah, back in April of 2019. So thank you, Williams Trading Post, and
71
we'll hear
years,
from them in the fall.
71 years.
Yes, absolutely. We'll hear from them in the fall. I want to talk about a little war history. Today, in history, one of the today in histories, is July 12th, 1942. In the Battle of Provoc Horovia. Hope I'm saying that right.
That's a mouthful, huh?
I hope I'm saying it right. It is a town in Russia, or it was a town in Russia, Soviet Union. It was 54 miles southeast of Kursk in the Soviet Union during the Second World War. This battle, taking place on the Eastern Front, the engagement was part of the wider Battle of Kursk and occurred when the 5th Guards Tank Army of the Soviet Red Army attacked the SS Panzer Corps of the German Wehrmacht in one of the largest tank battles in military history. That caught my eye. That particular sentence, because tank battles, to me, are very interesting. I like that part of history. The tank battles in World War II, and really in any war as well. In April 1943, the German leadership began preparing for Operation Citadel with the objective of enveloping and destroying the Soviet forces in Kursk by attacking and breaking through the base from north and south simultaneously. The entire battle, the entire Operation Barbarossa, it was very important. One of the most important operations in the war, and really could have been the end of the Soviet Union if Germany succeeded. So a lot of the battles in World War II were really important. This one was extremely important. This happened July 12th, 1943. If you want to read more about this battle, so we don't have a lot of time left in the show, but if you want to learn more about this battle, just type in the Battle of Prokhorivka. I hope I'm saying that right.
You gotta practice that in front of the mirror all week.
Yes, I hope I'm saying that right. Probably not, but I will give the spelling to it.
If Tony was here, he'd correct you like in 2 seconds.
Yes.
That, right?
Yes. I will give the spelling to it. Prokhorivka.
You know what I always said you should try to do is before you go on, before you read something that you're not quite sure, type up a documentary on YouTube, or something like that about that battle, and let the narrator say it.
Yeah.
And then you'll know the correct pronunciation.
I just saw this morning.
Oh, okay.
So,
but I mean,
this caught my eye this morning.
Curiosity is really one thing to be discovered, because I'm
Absolutely.
sure later on when the show is over and you're kind of, what are you doing here?
I will go on YouTube immediately and try to find
And you'd
the
be
actual.
like, oh, it was that. And then you can
Yeah.
find out if you're off or not.
Yes.
Because that helps you a lot, especially with,
It wasn't this
especially
battle.
Russian cities and Russian battles.
Yes, this was an interesting battle.
Sure.
Both sides fought to a stalemate.
Right.
They failed to achieve their objectives in this particular battle.
Right.
So it's considered a German tactical victory and a Soviet operational victory.
So we could have people listening to our show who might be in their 80s and 90s right now, listening this morning, who know that in their head because they remember hearing it on the news about battles going on in World War II, back during World War II. That was the news they heard, and it was frightening to hear.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's engraved in a lot of people's minds. at that
Absolutely.
age, right? Not as much as us because we didn't live through it. We're living through what? 9/11, pandemics, stuff like that. But it was different for World War II because people didn't know what the outcome was.
There was a lot of difficult moments. The Battle of Britain was a difficult moment.
Everything. Yep.
Operation Barbarossa at points was a difficult moment because Germany pushed really deep into Russia.
People don't realize the economical and industrial base, in my opinion, saved this world. Just because we didn't get bombed, we didn't, our railroads weren't bombed, our roads, our factories kept on producing. And the mighty railroads that we built in the 1800s served this country well. Back in the World War II, the steam locomotive was the finest it would ever be. It was the most advanced steam locomotives. They had diesels back then. They were infant on the diesels technology. They started like in the 30s. They had 10 years on the diesels, but they couldn't do what the big steamers could do.
Yeah.
Pulling the weight, pulling the cargo, pulling the freight across the mountains, back and forth. I mean, if you had industrial base in the East Coast, you needed to get all that over. We didn't have the interstate highway systems we have now. We only had the canals, the shipping, and we didn't want to do the shipping too because of all the Nazi U-boat.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was there was some Nazi U-boat attacks.
There was plenty of them
close to the coast. Yes,
North Carolina.
Point Judith was one of them, I believe, too. Yeah.
So it was the railroads that, because you can cut across the country.
Yeah.
Over the mountains. So this country saved this world from being enslaved.
Yes, and
period.
Again, so many different battles, so many important battles that really decided the war. D-Day.
Yeah.
The most important one.
Right.
D-Day. The Battle of Paris, when it was liberated.
Right.
So a lot of very important battles in World War II.
I tell you, Tony is a walking encyclopedia when it comes to World War II. He knows so much about it. He doesn't have to look at computer. He doesn't even have to. It's all the books he's read all his whole lifetime, learning that, and as a history teacher too. So every time I talk to Tony, I always pick his ear about World War II because he always gives. I think I know something. I do not think of that guy. I really do. That's why I love picking his brain when I see him.
Yeah, World War II was very interesting. Interesting topic. There's so many different battles.
There could have been so many scenarios.
The battle, the Battle of Castle Itter. That was very interesting when Allied troops and Axis troops
Tony didn't know that
fought with each other. Fought with each other. Like
it was right at the end of the war.
a
couple days.
They joined forces.
Yeah.
So a lot of interesting battles, for sure. So let's do the Today in History. We have one Today in History today. 1962, the Rolling Stones performed their first concert at London's Marquee Club. 58 years ago today. 58 years later, they're one of the biggest bands in Britain. One of the biggest bands in Britain.
And a couple lineups too that have changed. Charlie Watts. I don't know. Was Charlie Watts always a part of it? I think he was. The drummer, Mick Jagger,
Yeah.
and Keith Richards. I
There
know.
really wasn't a whole lot of lineup changes.
There was a few.
There was a few,
but
but
a few people died. And,
there was a few, but I don't remember like significant lineup changes.
You know what? You go online, you see that there was quite a bit.
Okay. All right, so we have a few birthdays to talk about. 1949, Rick Hendrick, American businessman. He founded Hendrick Motorsports. Hendrick Motorsports is very influential in NASCAR. Very influential company in NASCAR. Eric Carr, American drummer and songwriter. He would have been 70. He was born in 1950. He died in 1991.
He was in Kiss, right?
Yes, Kiss. Brock Lesnar, American mixed martial artist and wrestler. He was in mixed martial arts for many years and also in WWE for many years. I believe he debuted in 2000? Not 100% sure. And in WWE he debuted, I believe, in 2000. I'm not 100% sure. But he's had a great career in WWE. Several WWE Championship victories. Several Universal Championship victories. He's a big force in wrestling. He's very interesting to see wrestle. 1978, Michelle Rodriguez, American actress. Very, very popular for Fast and Furious, the Fast and Furious franchise. She has a big role in that. In, I think, basically all the movies. I think she was in all the movies. I'm not 100% sure. But she's had a big role in that, which is really cool because Fast and Furious is a really great franchise of films. And deaths for today. Theodore Roosevelt Jr. He died on this day in 1944. He was an American general and politician, and also the governor of Puerto Rico as well.
He was governor of Puerto Rico?
He was governor of Puerto Rico. Yeah.
That's bizarre. Considering his father had a lot to do with the liberation of Puerto Rico in the Spanish-American War, the Rough Riders.
So, some interesting today in histories for July the 12th. And also birthdays and deaths as well. Next week will be July 19th. Like we said earlier in the show, we may have a guest calling in. Next week, we will have more information about that midweek. I'll make an announcement on my Facebook page about it. So,
What did you say about, you said you wanted to try to find out when the Revolution was playing again?
The Revolution? Yes.
The soccer.
Yes. Hold on one second. Let me do that now.
Yeah.
Yep. New England Revolution schedule.
I
can go on their actual website.
Do you know where they played? That first game was it?
It wasn't in Montreal.
Oh, okay.
That's for sure.
Not in Foxborough either.
No.
Yeah, that a lot of these teams that be playing.
It was at the ESPN Worldwide Complex, Sports Complex.
Okay.
In Orlando.
So there's gonna be a lot of neutral spots.
Their next game is Thursday, July the 16th, at the same place, 8 p.m.
Who are they playing, Joe?
They are playing the DC United football team.
Okay.
That game will be on FS1, if anyone wants to watch that game. I couldn't find the Montreal Impact game.
Promise kept, right, Joe?
Yes. Yes, I almost forgot about it. I'm sorry. But I couldn't find the Montreal Impact game. I don't think it aired on TV. So, I don't know. All right, so that'll do it for today's show. July 19th is next week. That will be our next time we will be on the air. So, we will see you then. Have a great week, everybody. All right. Good stuff. Good program. Good program. I wasn't gonna do that battle of
LMA.
Battle of however you pronounced it. But I was kind of running out of topics, so I was like, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. And it happened. It happened to happen today in history. So it was a good history lesson.
Yeah, well, go on. Find a documentary. Check out the correct pronunciation.
Absolutely, I'm gonna do that later.
You should try to do that.
Yeah.
Prior to going on, so you don't.
But I wasn't gonna do that particular segment, but I did.
Pueblo, I think I said it wrong.
Pueblo? Okay.
Colorado?
Yeah.
Pueblo, I said it wrong too.
I don't know.
It's called Pueblo.
Pueblo? Yeah, I think I said it right.
Yeah.
Pueblo?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I'm not 100% sure, but I thought I did.
Pueblo.
Pueblo?
Pueblo.
Pueblo. Okay, I don't know if I said it right or not. Hope I did.
Yeah.
Come on, load. There we go. All right.
Radio News with Chris Barnes.
That'll do it for today's program. Like I said, we may have a guest on next week's program. I will let everyone know midweek if that will happen. We just have to make sure with him, with our guest. And our guest is a representative of the food pantry. So we're going to talk to him next week. But I want to make sure of that, and I'll make an announcement this week, this midweek. So I'll talk to everyone next week, and bye-bye, everybody.